Hey everybody, thanks for tuning back into OTRAMM's YouTube channel where we do Land Cruiser repair and modification how-to videos. Today we've got a 2014 200 series here in the shop, and we're going to put in one of the Cruiser Outfitters internal release kits so that you can open the hatch from the inside. So if you're sleeping in the back or whatever, you have easy access to get out. They've got a really nice kit set up here. Let me pan you up, and hopefully you can see that well enough. And I'm actually going to grab my step stool. We've got the truck up on lift right now, partially because Danny's underneath doing some suspension work. So the first step is we're going to remove the little electrical switch from the outside. It's a T27 Torx. We'll pull that guy out and flip it down a little bit so we've got access. And then we're going to take this tag light out, and you just kind of slide those towards the inside and pull out, and they'll come down like so. And then on the inside of the cover, we need to take this panel out, and if you look real close, there's a little groove in the bottom where you can stick a small flat blade screwdriver and pop that down. So we're good there. And then we're going to take the wiring harness that comes with the kit, and we're going to fish it down through this hole. I'm going to fish Oop. I'm going to fish the green and white wires. Actually, you know what? I may fish this up the other way. There we go. Yeah, we'll fish it the other way where it's easier to use the stiff handle. So we've got our green and black wires coming out through the tag light hole. Then we're going to take our blue and white wires and bring them across over here to our switch. And then we've got our white plug hanging out the middle. And then I'm going to unwrap some of this electrical tape off of here. Well, let me go grab a razor blade. I'm going to trim some of this back so that I've got easier access to splice these wires. So let me go get something to trim those and I'll be right back. Okay, so I did not get the splicing of these on camera. I ended up doing a lot of trimming on the factory loom to get enough wire out so that I could get in there and splice these. But basically just follow the Cruiser Outfitters instructions, and the wires are color-coded. So we've got that, guys. We can stick it back in. Before we stick this one back in, you want to give it a click. And hopefully you guys can hear that. And then our new harness as well. Make sure those click. That way we know our wires are in there right before we button all this up. And now we can bolt this guy back in. And I'll move you around to the inside of the truck so we can lay out the tailgate to drill for the handle. Okay, so we've moved to the inside, and I've put masking tape up here, and I've gone ahead and drawn lines marking the outsides of this opening, and then found the center. That way I know the center line of the opening here. And then my handle is 190 millimeters center to center. So I just came off my center line and out half of that on each side. And then I just eyeballed it to where I wanted it here, marked one side and measured up so that they're the same. And now I can just come, if I can find where I set my drill down at, right here under my instructions. I can take a pilot, and drill a pilot in each of these holes. And then swap that out for the size for my bit. And there we go. Now we can take our masking tape off. There was a lot of like silicone like Armor All on this back panel. So I had to spray it down with Windex to clean that off so that I could actually tape my tape on there. And now we can take our handle, if I remember what, there it is. We can stick our bolts in there. And take a washer and a nut. I'll put one of these fender washers on the back side. And then a nut. And then we're just going to do the same on the spring-loaded side. And a nut. If I can get that on there. There we go. There's our handle on. You know, I'll come in and tighten these up off camera, and I'll move you over to the bench. We need to trim out the panel that goes here so we can mount our switch in it. So let me move over there and I'll bring you right back. Okay, so I've got our trim panel insert taped up, and I've laid out my cut marks so that we can insert our trunk release or patch release. The Cruiser Outfitters kit comes with a template for this. Somebody, I'm not naming names, lost said template before I got this far. I'm gonna blame Crash since he's not in the room. Anyway, went ahead and just laid it out old school, drew it on here. I've drilled holes in the corners to make my corners round, and I just eyeballed up a drill bit to make sure it would be tangent with my cut marks. Cruiser Outfitters suggests using a sharp utility knife to cut this. I'm really bad at using a utility knife to cut these things, so I'm going to use a Dremel tool with a rotozip and see how that does. Hopefully I don't ruin this, but let's go ahead and cut this out. Note to self, when you're clamping something to hold it still to cut it, don't clamp by the piece that you're cutting out. But yeah, that worked fairly well. We're going to have to clean up the fuzzies. Let's see if we actually fit. And we do, for the most part. Oops. Come on, focus. There's a little notch right in here that we're going to have to line up and trim out. Trim a little groove for that. I'm going to go and just hand file this back and forth until we've got a good fit. So I'll bring you back when we're ready to put this back in the truck. Okay, so I've finished trimming up our insert. And now we can just feed it up in here. And snap it in. Make sure we work. And now we can pretend we're sleeping in the back. So I'm all ready for my nap. Now, we can just push our button and open it up and come on out. So there you go. That's how to install the 200 series interior release button. Hope you found that useful. If you did, please subscribe below. If you'd like to help support the channel, check out our Patreon link down in the description. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time.